Hi, welcome to Rock and Metal Invasion. My name is Steve. Coming up on the show today, I'm doing Lost Classics from the 90s Part 2. So this is my second video on this. JC from the flip side started it off, and so many other people then from the VC have been doing them, especially Aaron Mutha Alamir. He's just done his 15th, and his ones have been really good. Lots of classic releases from the 90s. Been really enjoying those. But yeah, other people as well, some fantastic stuff that I knew about, and then others I didn't know about. So then I checked them out, and I'm like, yeah, absolutely, what an awesome album. So I'm discovering new music as well. So I thought I'd do my second one. So yeah, this is a band. Definitely, I think it's a lost classic. The band is a band called Nirvana, and this one came out in. No, I'm just kidding. It's probably look. I know it's a pretty obvious joke, that one. If it's already been done, I apologize. Okay, no, the band I actually want to talk about is a band called the Nixons. And believe it or not, this is actually on vinyl. This came out in 1995. I was really pleasantly surprised to find that you could get this on vinyl, because I had it on CD and really never really bothered looking to see if it was on vinyl, but loved it. Pretty much, since I got the album on CD back in probably would have been around mid 90s, maybe a little bit late 90s. Yeah, it was certainly not when it was initially released, and that's the thing with a lot of these lost classics. They're albums that didn't do that well. A lot of these bands. They're lost classics because people just didn't hear them, and they weren't successful particularly, but it didn't mean that they weren't good albums, So now, in saying that, this album from the Nixons, had moderate success. The song "Sister," which is one of the singles, that was a bit of a modest hit, and it's a really good song. That was when I heard that song. I really thought, well, okay, this is a good album, and that's a really good song. It sounds a little bit like that song in particular. I wouldn't say the band itself, but that song in particular does remind me a little bit of Pearl Jam. But it's definitely got some grunge elements in there, but it's sort of that heavy alternative rock that was coming out, around that time, and that's almost in a lot of ways some of these lost classics that I've been enjoying. It's been that sort of a sound. It's not heavy metal, but it's not necessarily grunge. It's that sort of heavy alternative. You could even say post grunge. It was getting into that post grunge sort of sound, which I quite like. Certainly, some bands do it really well. Before sort of this is the time just before new metal took off, and then alternative metal. All that sort of stuff, rap metal became big, all that sort of stuff. All those sounds were still kind of around. Like Korn was around here as well, but they hadn't really broken big. And so this is this came out in 1995. It's their second album, although in saying that, their first album, Halo, contains most of the songs on here. So and that their first album came out, I think, in 94, so just a year prior. So it was on a smaller label, and then this one came out on MCA in 1995, and contains most of the songs from their first album. They did have an EP that came out in 1992, and they did. Now, after this came out, like I said, it was a sort of they had some success with the song "Sister." I think it got to number 77 on the Billboard chart, so that's okay. You might have thought you built on that for the second album. Next couple of albums didn't do so good, and they broke up. But they have actually since got back together. So they got back together in 2017. So and they haven't released a full album, but they've sort of been releasing some EPs since then. And they sound good. I mean, I like the follow-up album to this one. Then the one after that came out in 2000 is an album called Latest Thing. And what's interesting about that, a bit of a link to my previous lost classic, that's got a song on it called Lifeline, which is written by Marty Fredriksson, who I really struggle to say his name, but anyway. So Marty, of course, was the vocalist on my previous Lost Classic, so Motherland. So I talked about them as on my first Lost Classic, and yeah. And the singer for this band, the Nixons, Zach Malloy, he's a little bit like Marty in that he then goes on after leaving his band to become, quite a well-known, fairly in-demand songwriter. So he's written for quite a few bands throughout the 2000s. And yeah, he even, had Marty work with him on the latest Thing album with the Nixons. But yeah, they've had a similar sort of a career in some ways, fronting a band and then leaving their band and then going off and just, working as a songwriter. So Zach Malloy's the singer. Another person that you might be familiar with, the drummer in this band is someone called John Humphrey, and he then goes on to become the drummer in Cedar, and he's still the drummer in Cedar as well. So, yeah, there we go. So go check it out. Like I say, you can even get it on vinyl. Lots of good songs, like I mentioned Sister, but actually probably my favorite song on here is a song called Drink the Fear. Really, it's quite a heavy song, and what I love about that song is it's got a guitar solo on it from Glenn Tipton of Judas Priest, and actually it's a killer solo. He really rips on it. It sounds fantastic. So yeah, if you haven't heard that song, go check that one out. It's a good song, and also the solo is pretty cool. So yeah, the Nixons, and the album's called Foma, and yeah, it's definitely for me a classic from the 90s worth checking out. So if you haven't heard it and you think it sounds like something you might like, go check it out. Thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and I'll be back with a new episode some other time very soon. All right, we'll catch you later. Bye.